To take us through the collections of the museum here today is the curator, Mr. Jason Schubert. Jason, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing, Robert?
So what do you have here at the museum?
Well, we have the largest privately held collection of firearms in the world. And we're also a lot more than just firearms.
Like what?
Well, we have a collection of World War I posters. We have a collection of John Rogers statuary. That's no relation to Will or his father, but these were plaster statues from the 1860s through 1890s that was small three-dimensional art that could be kept in the home.
So when visitors come here, what do they want to see?
Well, there's a lot of different areas that people are very interested in seeing. In fact, I could take you to show you one area.
Let's go.
All right. As you'll see here at the museum, we have a very extensive collection of rifles and shotguns, as well as pistols, but we have firearms from many different manufacturers, as well as individual gunsmiths. Here we have a really nice collection of Colt revolving long arms, rifles and shotguns, some of the type that Sam Colt sold to the Republic of Texas for their naval and land forces, and also some that he was trying to sell to the U.S. military at the time.
The collection is overwhelming, over 30,000 guns. Add to that a huge collection of rare beer steins, animal heads, and political memorabilia. When J.M. Davis bought the Mason Hotel in 1916, he brought his collection. Every wall was covered with weapons. Over the years, he closed up rooms as he ran out of space for his guns. Wayne McCombs is the executive director of the museum. Mr. McCombs, thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Robert. Thanks for coming.
Tell us about the exhibit here.
Well, this exhibit contains Mr. Davis's very first gun that he received from his father back in 1895. As a child, Mr. Davis was ill a lot of the time, and he didn't like to take his medicine. So his dad promised him he would get him a .410 shotgun if he would take his medicine. Mr. Davis took his medicine and overcame the illness, but still began to collect guns the rest of his life. In here, of course, we have the old cash register. We have the where they would get their keys and their mail. And then also over here, we have Mr. Davis's desk that was in the lobby just off to the center. And that's where Mr. Davis would work on the guns himself, where he would clean them, work on the parts. And his original desk is right there. And we also have one of the items I remember as a child from the hotel, the jackalope that's on the wall over there. That was above the area where you would go into the coffee shop. And I wondered for years, was that real or not, you know, about a jackalope, you know.
Tourists come here from all over the world to wander through row after row of Kentucky long rifles, muskets, and machine guns. There are enough weapons here to equip 2 divisions. Some of the weapons belong to the famous and infamous of American history.
Here at the museum, we have a large collection of outlaw and lawman guns on exhibit. A lot of famous names that you'll hear: Bill Tillman, Jesse James. A lot of neat items.
So this is Bonnie Parker's gun?
Yes, this was a pistol that was found in a kind of a hotel, actually more of a travel cabin that Bonnie and Clyde, and then Bonnie's brother Buck and his wife Blanche shot their way out of in Missouri.
So do you get that strong of an attribution for all the guns you have here? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. One pistol in particular that we have in the back in collection storage I could show you. It has one of the stories that we don't have an affidavit for, but the way it was told to us leads pretty good credence to the, makes me believe that it's probably a fairly accurate story. If you like, I could show you. Let's take a look.
All right. This is our collection storage area where we keep the artifacts that are not currently on exhibit.
How many non-exhibited items do you have?
Well, as far as firearms go, we have about 5,000 firearms that are not on exhibit, so they're here in this room. But that leaves about 9,000 firearms that are on exhibit. Here's that pistol that I was telling you about. This came from a donor in Oregon. Called us up, told us an interesting story. His grandfather had been a law enforcement officer in eastern Oklahoma and was involved in one of the times that Pretty Boy Floyd was apprehended. Now, the story goes that the senior law enforcement officer, he was a federal agent, took this pistol off of Pretty Boy Floyd and gave it to our donor's grandfather for helping in apprehend Floyd. And so it was just a little standard Smith & Wesson M&P military and police 38 caliber revolver. And while we have several firearms like this, with the unique history associated with this one, we just couldn't pass it up. As you see, we have quite a few pistols here. These are the ones that are not on exhibit, mostly because of duplication, or we want to do something else, maybe have a future exhibit. Here we have this is a Spanish Nicolet lock pistol. As you see, all the springs are on the outside. It's kind of an early version of the flintlock, so you might see as a pirate-type pistol, and it's here because we have several others like it already on exhibit, and so it's a nice piece, very ornate.
Yeah.
And here's something you see in the movies a lot. You probably don't see it up close and personal. This is the Desert Eagle 44 Magnum. It's quite a big firearm.
Yeah.
It shows up on camera real well, so I think that's why they put it up in the kind of. I think you see Arnold Schwarzenegger with one on. There you go. Hold on to that.
Heavy.
Yep.
It's like cast iron.
Yeah. It's got a lot of metal there to hold the pressure from the 44 Magnum. It's a very powerful cartridge. And
quite a kick, I'm guessing, too.
I'm sure it is. Of course, the weight helps with some of it. It does counteract some of the recoil, but you're going to feel it no matter how heavy the thing is.
Now, why would this one be on?
Well, we have one on display. It's a duplicate. We do have a couple here in the collection, and we've got one on exhibit. So this one's just sitting in storage.
Now, you never fire any of these, right?
No, absolutely not. These are museum artifacts. The purpose of them being here is to promote history, to preserve history, and to be able to tell a story. And when you operate an artifact, you have the chance of breaking it.
Many of the weapons in storage will one day be put on display as exhibits are updated. Admission is free, and be sure to give yourself a few hours to spend roaming through the collection.